What were your takeaways from the young guy scrimmage last week?
It was good. A lot of guys competed. Ish did a really good job. We'll see his conditioning moving forward, but we want to play him, and we'll see how he finishes up the rest of the week. Some of the other younger DBs did a really good job, so it was really productive. They were out there on their own, just played really fast, and their guys are going to help us, and we expected that when we put them out there, but we just wanted to watch them compete without any coaching, without anything else, and just evaluate the film.
So what is it that you look for this week before Saturday to determine if Ish is ready?
Just the game plan itself. There's a dynamic that goes into just calling base stuff, and then a dynamic to this is our game plan. How well can they get it? What can they handle? And then the environment of being at Notre Dame too. So all this goes into play, and they just got to prove to us they've done a really good job the last couple of days with it. But before you anoint somebody, you let the week finish out, and then we'll see where we're at. But there's nothing that says to me that some of these guys that I had talked about beforehand aren't going to be able to help us.
So with Ish, is it a matter of how much he'll play or whether he'll play at all?
Well, I think it's if he finishes up the way he has done in the last week to the last couple of days, it'll be how much.
Just going back to the last game, Corey had his breakout with 1.5 sacks. What's been the evolution that you've seen from him?
It's just practice, and he's been a little bit dinged up here and there too. And I just think it's a young guy that's going through school, that's going through expectations, but he's doing a really good job in the last couple of weeks with his practice habits, and his practice habits are starting to show in the game. And I think the actual grasp of everything that we're asking him to do is starting to slow down too. So I think you're going to see him be more and more productive down the road.
I was going to ask, how much do you think the expectations kind of weighed on him through the first quarter?
I don't know personally, because I've never asked him about that, but I'm sure as a high-profile recruit and coming here, I'm sure that he puts probably a lot of pressure, like a lot of these kids do, and then if things aren't going great, they want to ask why. And all we do is just say, just go practice your tail off, and you'll be amazed the results will come on Saturday. And I think that's what he's done in the last couple of weeks.
What have you seen on film just from the Notre Dame run game in general?
Well, their tailbacks are super dynamic, and statistically, I don't get into that part of it. I just look at the actual athletes and the players themselves. And if they get no open field and they get some room, they're really hard to bring down. And their quarterbacks can distribute the football because they've got veterans out on the outside. So their skill guys are, they lost a whole bunch of experienced offensive linemen. Everybody knows that, but their skill guys are all guys that we're in the playoff, and they know what it takes, and they're dynamic guys, and they're all really, really good athletes. So that's their running backs especially. They don't get enough credit for, when they get in space, what they can do with the football.
What gives you confidence that the run defense will be able to bounce back?
Well, it's a little bit of, I've said this beforehand, we had last week to work on fundamentals and techniques. We've been going 11 weeks strong, really, really hard. These guys have really had an opportunity to get their bodies back. They look good out here right now in terms of the freshness aspect of it. So we'll see, time will tell on Saturday, but physically, I think we'll be much better than we've been, a couple weeks ago. I think a lot of guys had a chance to heal up. Some of the guys that were dinged up that were being warriors for us had a chance to rest last week. They've done a really good job. Coach Williams done a good job of kind of modifying practice this week, of giving those guys an opportunity to kind of slow it down a little bit for them to try to get them ready for the fight.
What's the evaluation of Lejean in the scrimmage?
Good. He's good, man. Like I said beforehand, we want to play him. He's showing us that he is accountable in practice reps. We're just trying to find the right spot for him, just to utilize him. He does some things really, really well, and some of the stuff he needs to improve on, but we want to play him, and he knows that, so he's got to just prove it to us in practice.
How's it been having Chris Thompson back?
It's good. Chris, he's kind of a hybrid guy that can play, kind of a nickel Sam, which I think at this point right now, we're trying to utilize his skill set as much as possible and try to keep Drake as kind of a guy that can keep his hand in the ground and do very limited things with him and just let him excel at the D-line play. So Chris gives us some flexibility to be able to use him, as a bigger body nickel.
Notre Dame's played 3 QBs this year. How do you guys go about preparing for that?
Well, a couple of them are similar, and they have a runner. So, you have to prepare for both of them. We expect to see that. It's kind of sprayed in multiple. I think Coach Kelly would probably like to put his hand on one of them and say, hey, this is the guy that we're going to go with. But we've prepared for all 3 of them, expecting to see different things out of it.
Overall, how tough has this year been for you personally?
It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You grind, you go through it, you try to find the answers, you work, you evaluate yourself, you evaluate what we're doing, you evaluate what's best for these guys' skill set, and you just keep going. That's all you can do. You can't sit back and kind of overanalyze stuff. You can't sit back and sit there and want to point fingers. That's not what we do. That's not what I've ever done that. All I try to do is what can make us better? Where is there something that we're missing? Is there some piece of this puzzle that we can place together and get this thing righted? And that's all really, me personally, that's all I've done in the last couple of weeks, is went back and just evaluated every play that we've had this year, evaluated what we're doing in practice, evaluated identify who are the guys that are playing the best for us right now and what are they really good at. And hopefully that's what you'll see on Saturday. Good. All right, thank you.